So Breonna Taylor, as we said on the show before, how her tragic murder has not gotten as much attention, I believe, as it should. For the few people who may be watching this who don't know what her story is, basically, she was at home in Louisville, Kentucky, sleeping. Police had a warrant for somebody who did not live in her home and somebody who they had already apprehended. So that memo apparently didn't get to the police, who came to her door with what they call a no-knock warrant, where you just show up and you kick in the door and arrest people, right? So they did that. Breonna Taylor and her boyfriend, they're at home. Police kick in the door. Her boyfriend, like, somebody's breaking into the house. So he got his gun and started busting. And police responded and full up the house with shots. Shot the sleeping 26-year-old beautiful queen at least 5 times and killed her. This happened back in March. Long time ago this happened. Way before George Floyd, way before any other thing. It hasn't gotten enough attention, right? So the family filed, out of like athletes or whatever, it's like, arrest the cops who killed Breonna Taylor. So that is
still a movement that's going on today.
It's still a movement that's still going on, still relevant. So her family also filed a civil lawsuit, a wrongful death lawsuut. And the city of Louisville settled that lawsuit this week by paying $12 million to the family, right? So that's the civil part of it. A lot of people have been kind of getting those two confused. They're like, so you're just going to take $12 million and it goes away. It's 2 separate processes. So they got $12 million for wrongful death. Now, here's the thing about that. That $12 million, it does not come out of, first of all, the individual cops who killed her. They have nothing to do with us. And not only from an individual standpoint, it does not even come out of the police department. So basically, it comes from the taxpayers of Louisville, right? The people, that $12 million, which would have been going towards other services and resources that the city of Louisville needs, that $12 million comes out of that pot. And so really, those taxpayers are paying for their own harassment and abuse. So, which is, obviously a bag of nonsense. So let me ask a question. And Doc, I'm going to direct it to you first. Is this hush money? Do you think this $12 million is hush money to make the people say, hey, we got some money. Now we can leave this alone. The cops can't go about their business. Do you think this is hush money?
I really do feel, I feel that way. Yeah. And the sad reality is, the ultimate question is, where is the lesson learned as far as the cops are concerned? Mm-hmm. Because, if there's no burden placed on those guys, there's no repercussions for bad behavior, then the ultimate question is, where's the lesson learned?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. As we know from kids, if you do something wrong and you get away with it, hey, let me try that again. I cut off a thief one little piece of the bun, but if I take the whole bun, right? So, that's something we've said here. Accountability and consequences. Mm-hmm. We all learned that from we were a year old, from months old, that if you don't come with consequences, then we're going to keep on doing it. Texas, what do you say?
Oh, Lord, I got a lot to say about that.
Is $12 million enough?
Let's think about it like this. It happened in March. We're now in September. They've reached a settlement that quick. Nothing happens that quick unless it's to shut you up. Period. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
I have some research. There's a comparison I want to share with y'all. So there was this lady, Justine Diamond, which was an African American, who was gunned down in Minneapolis, okay, by a black officer who was approaching her squad car. Now her killer, Muhammad Noor,
black officer, white woman,
okay, black
okay,
officer.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
So her killer, Muhammad Noor, was promptly arrested, tried, and convicted. Okay. Not only that, the family of Justine Diamond was awarded $55 million.
Whoa!
55.
Which state is this?
Whoa! That
Minneapolis.
I remember the case. I didn't know that discrepancy. And oh man! All right, keep going.
Let me keep going. Now, this is Breonna Taylor, okay, African American woman, who was killed by white cops in a botched raid. Now, let's take the raid, okay? Wrong house, number one. The judge signed off of it, number one. Wrong house. The execution of it, they should have figured out it was the wrong house. Because the house was wrongfully identified, period. So whoever did the research on it was just completely off base, okay? So, and the thing about it, this woman was, I don't know if she was asleep at that point, but she was woken up out of her sleep and then promptly murdered. You know what I'm saying? So we have to think about it in that aspect. Okay. With that, subsequently, Breonna Taylor's murderers are basically clocking into work every day, okay?
Yeah.
They're still out there, all right? And then they offer her what? 12. First of all, I don't know what family member, or if it was the boyfriend or what may have you, that was involved in the negotiation of this, but $12 million, come on now. We have the white lady, 55. It was the mom?
Yeah.
The mother especially? Okay.
Yeah, it was
we
the
have
mom.
one lady on one hand.
Especially just making that up.
Okay.
No,
55.
no.
I believe it.
You didn't see the documentary on Hulu?
We'll accept it for now. All right, go.
One lady, which is white, 55 million, just to serve. The next lady, which is black, 12 million, no just to serve. You know, we want to go into the points about Black Lives Matter and things like that, and White Lives Matter. Okay, lives matter, but it seems in this case that some lives are worth more than others, of course.
Of course.
Look at this. This is $40 million, difference here. So to answer the question, was it hush money? Of course. Now, whoever negotiated this, booping our head. That's going to be my new segment.
I like that segment.
Booping our head. There's no way.
That could go viral.
Yeah, no way. You should have agreed to that. Of course it was hush money. Special.
Here what me have a problem with, man. Yeah, you have a problem with.
She got that boop in her head.
Let me tell you. Usually you don't have the civil suit until after the criminal case is complete.
Yeah, like with OJ. Yeah,
that's correct.
And if right off the bat they offering money, that means that they might try lower down the thing, down.
Of course,
because
exactly. Yep.
Because this is how from all of the cases that you've seen with the police, this is how them do it. Them try to get you confuse everybody, so you don't know which direction to go in. Because when it comes to blame with the police, whole heap of finger point all about and nobody now get arrested. Right? Because right now they're trying to say, they don't really know whose bullet actually hit her, because because there was a lot of cops that were involved in the shooting.
What, they say that was the boyfriend?
No, they never said that. But they were saying there were several cops that shot, right? So they're not quite sure whose bullet actually hit her, right?
It don't matter. It was one of y'all.
Exactly. So that is what I try to say, finger point all about. So them do it purposely to throw you off because you can't focus on actually what is going on, right? And as I said before, if you start parody and no real in-depth investigation go on yet, no conclusion by the courts have been reached. That means them try to shut you up and say, yo, take the money and go on, no?
Yeah, exactly. Go on.
Sorry. Well, I mean, like Chris was saying that, you know, a lot of people can't differentiate between the civil and the criminal case, right? I mean, you have a lot of people that's out there, they're marching and doing their whole thing for the whole Black Lives Matter movement. But I think when they present it this way, and there's some supposed millions that supposedly issued, whether or not that's, you know, valuable enough, because evidently there's a disparity between the white person that got paid versus the other black person that lost their life, right? When they do it from this angle, what's gonna happen is, okay, the average person who don't really understand how the legal system works will say, well, them get them payments already for this, so, you know, that was settled. And quietly, that just gets thrown underneath the rug, and we'll just move on to the next one that they kill. And once again, you know, there's still no accountability because the troublemakers or the problem children have still not been dealt with.
You know,
so it's just go ahead, Chris.
You know that, you know what, I did not know about that. I remember the case that Tex was talking about with the white lady in Minnesota, and you know, the black officer, and you know, it's why we have to say Black Lives Matter, right? I mean, so when you like, I've heard this and I've seen this, and that goes all across the board. So some, you know, I don't know if you remember Elizabeth Smart, a white girl who was missing some years ago, maybe like 15 years ago or so. And, you know, there was an all-out manhunt, you know, looking for this beautiful little white girl, right?
Equal search.
Yeah, exactly. And at the same time that she was missing, there are these two little black girls in Chicago who were missing. I think they're twins or sisters or what have you, and got absolutely no coverage. You know, I don't think that they were ever found. But when you have on CNN, MSNBC, Fox, local news, everybody talking about Elizabeth Smart, you know, and obviously a missing child, and that has to be like the absolute worst thing for any parent. But there's a discrepancy even there, because they're thinking about their viewers, and they say a pretty little white girl who is missing, we have to go find her. Versus these two black girls from the south side of Chicago, you know, people kind of think like that. So it doesn't get as much attention. And like with Trayvon Martin, right? After, you know, he was killed by, not even by police, just by the Salika man, right? You know, fake police, wannabe police. And it took so much marching and on the news constantly for him to even be arrested. We're not talking about police who have the, you know, protection of being a police officer, or, you know, or like Michael Brown was killed in Ferguson, and you know, it took forever for them to even. Well, actually, in his case, the cop never got arrested. So when you see these discrepancies, and so when you think, and so the case with the lady in Minnesota, again, pretty little white lady, you know, who was, I don't remember the circumstances, but she was killed by a black cop. And
she was basically approaching his vehicle to find out what was going on.
And like you said, immediately arrested, right? Immediately arrested, tried, in jail right now, and the $55 million versus here we are from March to September, in the case of Breonna Taylor, and it's very likely that they will not even be arrested. From what I've heard about people who know Kentucky law, they said it is very unlikely that those cops will be arrested. They can't fire them. Police, you know, they can't fire them. But as far as being arrested, they are, you know, people feel like they were in their right to do what they did. You know, put the blame on somebody else. You know what I mean? So it's that's why we have the bar Black Lives Matter, because when we look at these different similar circumstances and switch around the race of the people involved, it's clear that they value our lives less than other people's lives. That's why we have to keep balling it, Black Lives Matter.
$40 million less.
Man, that's a big difference. It's different cities or whatever, I don't care. But that's a big difference.
Cities don't matter.
Yeah. And so there's a thing called
different cities have a limit on the amount of payout they can have. That is one of the reasons why you see. No, they have it in the budget, because they know so something not gonna happen, So they actually have it in their budget as a cap. But if you notice with Breonna, they had to kind of scrounge up the money from all boats to get it to where they need it. Well, get it
insurance money and
you see, but in terms of the payout, they have a cap on it in every city.
But to talk about that again, the fact that money does not even come out of the police department.
Yeah,
it's not like they do this and then they are punished, so now they can't go and get these new cruisers it's not even coming out of their budget. It's the city's budget. That money could be going to a park, after school center or what have you. But no, we have to pay for this abuse, harassment, and murder of your citizens. So you are going to pay us for us to murder your citizens. That's basically what it is. You know what I mean?
It goes back to our points that we've made on the show on countless times. I mean, there's no accountability. So, how do you expect for, things to change if there's no accountability? We talk about defunding the police and things like that, but nothing's happened. I mean, we're still in the same situation that we are. All this protesting, rioting, and things of that nature. Yeah, that's all well and good. But until somebody's held liable, nothing will change. Period.
I agree. And they need to be held personally liable. So something that we've mentioned is a thing called qualified immunity. Right. Which basically makes them immune
to being
from prosecution and being personally liable in these cases, right? They're not 100% immune, but it's a very, very high bar to get them to get a cop goes and murder some citizen, to help them personally responsible, like where they have to pay for their defense, if a civil suit, they have to pay out of their pockets. For them to go to jail, it's a very high bar. So that needs to go. You know what I mean? So when we talk about these as we march and protest and whatever, a few weeks ago we were talking about this, and we're all just like frustrated and fed up. Like, it doesn't seem like anything is changing. That's because, as we said, it needs to translate to policy. And until policy changes, the same thing's going to keep going on. So qualified immunity is one of those things that needs to go. They need to be held personally responsible. Completely ruin a cop's life and his family and his money and his future because he's broke, because he took somebody's life. Until those things start happening, they're not going to think twice. There are endless amount of cases that we can talk about. Anyway, man, this thing get me so hot. Anyway,
drink up. I'm about to refresh your mind.
You know what? I need to do like text. I need to bring my bar upstairs, and because I just bring one like a glass and a glass done.
Should give the people them a tour. We drink around here. The good doctor's on our H2O, but no, we drink around here.
Speaking of good doctor, I should send a text to my doctor to bring me a second glass.
We get down over here. We ain't playing no games. Whatever you want, we got.
Anyway,